Adesanya. He wants to come forward.
Oh,
Oh, left hook. Knocks down by Whittaker. He might be done. He's done.
He's done.
Israel Adesanya wins. UFC champion.
Wow.
Wow. Dropped and
for 5
finished.
on my picks for sure, dog.
Robert Whittaker in the second round, and I was right. Ant wasn't. Ant picked Robert Whittaker. I just want to rub that in his face there just for a second. Wow. A star-making performance from the last Stylebender. Wow. Holy shit. And he is yelling at Paula Bochina Costa. Oh, my God. Henry Cejudo's doing the fake. Hold me back, bro. Paula Bochina Costa was good. Oh, wow. That is just an amazing finish there from Israel Adesanya. The way he hurt him and dropped him and then pounced on him, the killer instinct there is just, again, Simpsons gif, chef's kiss. Mwah. Fantastic highlight right here. Wow. Jab from Whittaker lands. Right hand comes back from Adesanya, and then lands a left hook after it.
Bro, are you serious? You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Steve on Tekken. You know that move where you're leaning back and you crack him with the uppercut? That's what that looked like.
That's good. That's good. Wow.
Oh, man.
And Tekken, underrated fighting game. Just want to say that off the bat. Just want to put that out. Wow. Give me Israel Adesanya versus Paula Bochina Costa right now. ASAP.
Oh, my God.
Do we have a new superstar? Do we have a new pound-for-pound talent right here, ladies and gentlemen? Like that. Look, I know he was the betting odds favorite, but for a lot of people in the industry, it seemed like he wasn't. I feel like a lot of people in the media were picking Whittaker. A lot of fans were picking Whittaker.
Because like we talked about on the preview show, like it makes sense from just a logical standpoint.
Absolutely. No, I'm not disputing the pick. No, don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is that, look, Israel, in all intents and purposes, maybe wasn't supposed to win this fight. Like, he wasn't the better fighter on paper. But he looked almost utterly flawless here. You know, there's some minor gripes, like we pointed out, about some of his defensive back foot movement and such. But he demolished Whittaker every time he's basically connected with clean shots. And finished a champion that a lot of people seem to respect and highly regard.
Man.
Like, he's in a top 10 pound for pound now, probably, right?
Yeah, it's got to be. Whittaker was a top 10 pound for pound guy.
And on top of that, I mean, the level of stardom here, I mean, it's going to be hard to tell because we don't know pay-per-view numbers. We don't know stuff like that. But he seems to be tracking on a way that is reminiscent of other very notable superstars in combat sports. And his post-fight interview right now, I can't wait to hear it. Ant, sort of your thoughts on Israel Adesanya's performance?
This was star-making. This was amazing. He was perfect in there.
Wow.
Man.
50+ thousand Australians and New Zealanders cheering him on.
This man is a star. There's just no other way around it. He's a star.
He's definitely a superstar in that region of the world, without doubt. Whether or not he's a U.S. superstar doesn't matter. He will be now.
He will be. I mean, I kind of think he already is. I mean, this is a guy who's already kind of made a lot of the media rounds in the U.S. He was on Breakfast Club. He's been, he's been featured on talk shows and all that stuff. Like he's a guy who's kind of made the rounds already, and he's an undefeated fighter, and he's of hip hop culture. And he's of comic book culture. Like there's too much pop culture in this man for him not to be pop culture himself.
Agreed. I can't wait to see what's next for this guy, man. And I can't believe I called it right and you didn't. Rubbing your face some more. Wow. Call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. Obviously, next is Polo Bochina Costa, right? Like, there's really nobody else that's on the docket for number one contender status. How does that fight go down in your mind?
I'm sorry. You talking about Costa
Yes.
and Izzy? Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, I was looking at the replay.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know.
You know what? It's hard to not side with Israel after seeing that because Costa went through hell to beat Romero, as pretty much anyone who does who fights Romero and
yes.
comes out with their hand raised. Like you got to go through hell to get there. But those moments of hell are moments that Israel would be exploiting with just superior kickboxing technique. Just a better eye for what's going on. It's almost like he's seeing everybody in slow motion. It's nuts what he's capable of accomplishing.
Oh, is he getting the ring or the cage? Come on.
I think so.
My stream is really fucking up right now.
Mine is messing up too.
Okay, good. It's not just me.
So it's ESPN.
It's everyone then. Okay, my stream just cut out.
Yeah, mine too. On my TV and my laptop. So, excuse me. Yep. So, we can speculate on what they're talking about. Well,
this is rough. Oh my god.
Wow. Good job, ESPN.
Oh, it's good now. It's good, but no in cage interaction seems like we're gonna get between Israel and Adesanya. Missed moment, in my opinion. That they should do that more often. Like get security up there. Like, and honestly, like I know, like both these guys are kind of hot-headed in a way, but they both know promotion. Also, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think they would be understanding of the level of what they can sort of cross and not cross. But digressing from that, Israel Adesanya clearly started making performance. That first round, close, but dropped him late, and then dropped him again in the second and followed up and won a spectacular, again, star-making performance in Melbourne, Australia on UFC 243. Hit the like button and share the show. Let's talk about the co-main event right now. Dan Hooker basically just outstruck and outpointed and just picked apart Ally Quinta for 3 rounds and beat him up. Again, another fight that I picked right and you picked wrong. A trend, I feel like, on this show. Not just for this fight, just like overall period throughout history of our shows together. Digressing from that, though, your thoughts on being wrong, Ant, and Dan Hooker making some steps in his game, looking more polished on the feet. Your thoughts on Dan Hooker beating Ally Quinta in the co-main event?
I think that means Dan Hooker is for real at 155. I believe people kind of had their doubts about him after the Barboza fight, and then so. And granted, he did run through James Vick, but James Vick is also a guy who, like Dan Hooker earlier in his career, was probably cutting too much weight, fighting lower than what he should have been, and wasn't making the best use of his athletic talent. So you could put a question mark over the James Vick win. You can't put a question mark over beating Ally Quinta. You just can't. Like he's a fundamentally sound fighter who typically shows up to perform against the best names available. Dan Hooker ran through him. That man's legit.
I completely agree, man. He's like literally dancing and singing on his way back to the locker room. Wow, just again, like goosebumps. These are the type of fights and performances you go, man, this is the next generation. This is how it works all the time. Like, this is the next wave of stars. Like, and I love seeing these. I love seeing a guy who I've watched from a very long time ago in glory all the way to now. You know, seeing the growth in him. But back to Dan Hooker. He called out Dustin Poirier next. I think that would be a fantastic fight. Plus, Kevin Lee versus Gregor Gillespie winner. I mentioned to you before we started the show would be another good fight next for Dan Hooker. I'm trying to think of some other ones maybe. Like maybe you'd throw a Donald Cerrone matchup right now if that would maybe make sense some way. But maybe he's thinking past that, looking more towards title contention. Any thoughts on the next opponent for Dan Hooker and how he will look in that performance?
I kind of like the Poirier fight. That makes the most sense to me. It's a fight where I think we're guaranteed to see some good action. Both of those guys do come to fight, and they will meet each other in the center of the cage and get it on. So it'll have the entertainment factor. Poirier is probably at a crossroads in his career right now after his loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov. So him being able to beat Dan Hooker would be a good sign that he can stick around in this division and make another run at the belt. And for Hooker, it would be beating Poirier would be the best name he could have on his resume that's available right now. I wouldn't, maybe Gaethje, but quite honestly, I think I'd rather see the Conor versus Gaethje fight.
Agreed.
If Conor is coming back anytime soon.
I agree completely. Next up on the card, I believe, was it the Tai Tuivasa fight? Or was
Yes.
Yes. He lost.
Wrestling. Work on the wrestling. He was getting taken down at will by Sergey Spivak.
A lot. And it was to the point where it was apparent he had nothing to offer in terms of that department.
The takedown defense, it's like he had nothing to offer. But once it got on the ground, it was like he was very good at getting back up.
Yes, agreed.
Which was interesting. I found that to be kind of strange. Typically, if a guy can get up that easily, he's not going to get taken down as easily. But I guess there's some sort of gap in his training, or at least what he remembered in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, but maybe, the natural instinct to shoot for underhooks right then and there when somebody shoots for a takedown, that's something that you have to work on. That's muscle memory that you need to build on. And maybe he just doesn't have that yet. While, let's say, scrambling and getting up to his feet comes more naturally to him. That's possible. But definitely a poor performance from the Australian native. Moving on, Diego Lima beating Luke
Jumo.
Guess that. Diego Lima shockingly won, and again, proving that Ant's just really bad at picking fights.
Today I was
rough.
Garbage at picking fights. I went 0 for 5 on the main card.
And especially if you started picking a lot of just the Australian names, it was rough for you. I have no real take on this other than Diego Lima looked better, in better shape. His leg kicks were on point. Overall, just a better control of the fight than in previous fights. And any thoughts on Diego Lima's performance?
I mean, not really. I mean, this was a fight that didn't belong on a pay-per-view main card.
A lot of these fights.
Really, most of the pay-per-view main card did not belong on a pay-per-view main card. This was certainly in that ilk. I don't really have many thoughts on this fight. I mean, it's good to see Diego Lima actually putting things together and becoming an effective fighter. I know he certainly has the enormous shadow of his brother Douglas, who was one of the best fighters in Bellator history to live up to. And he seems to be making good on that last name and putting together some solid performances. So, well, credit to him. All credit to him.
Yes, definitely seems like, was it the Mark Hughes to the Matt Hughes?
Right.
Definitely that sort of.
Or like Rashad Evans' brother that got booted off of the Ultimate Fighter.
Why am I forgetting this?
Because he was barely on there. It wasn't much to remember.
I'm now going to go on such a deep dive on Rashad Evans' brother. You have no idea. Okay, there's lost history of MMA that I remember but really don't. Moving on, though. Upset? Or do you call it an upset? Jorgen De Castro defeating Justin Tafa?
Not really. I mean, this was essentially a regional heavyweight fight.
Yeah,
that's what this was on a UFC pay-per-view.
Thank God it ended in the first round, and thank God it was a flashy KO.
Yeah, because if it went another minute, it was going to be a terrible, sloppy, ridiculous fight. It would have been the definition of bad MMA. You can't expect much from two guys making their UFC debut who have a combined record of 8-0, and this happens to be a 55,000 seat stadium in Australia. I'm sorry, these are not the conditions where a long drawn out heavyweight fight between inexperienced people becomes good or even entertaining in any way, shape, form, or fashion, unless you have a quick finish.
Agreed. Call in, guys, 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers calling on Skype, Mix Combat Radio. I'm probably going to feel generous and also talk about Triple G Derevyanchenko because why not? Just two birds, one stone. Moving on, Jake Matthews defeating Rostam Akman via unanimous decision and mainly avoiding the ground like it's lava when that's his best skill. And he then went on to say that he did that because I forget who he said it was, but like one of the announcers or commentators mentioned that he couldn't win standing up, something to that effect.
Yeah,
so that's why he did it.
Really strange.
Weird performance from him as well, because again, I'm thinking the whole time, what are you doing? But he clearly won, in my opinion, and obviously outstruck Akman, but it was an odd performance and odd reasoning for that performance when I feel like he could have taken him down and probably got a finish in a second round or so.
And I think Akman should have taken his sweater off too, but it's another story.
Another story in and of itself. To sort of skip some fights, moving to Brad Riddle versus Jamie Malarkey, just to point out that was a fantastic fight.
Yes, it was. Round of the year candidate in round number 3.
Just want to point it out. I don't know these guys. Don't have really any in-depth take on any of these two guys, but it was a fun fight. Go watch it if you can. Megan Anderson, though, winning via shocking submission.
Yeah. I mean, this was a setup fight. This was a fight that she was supposed to win. So they pair her up with a French kickboxer who is the last person that's going to be able to take her down or employ any sort of real ground game. And Megan took advantage of it. She did exactly what she was supposed to do. She was supposed to win this fight. She was supposed to get back on track, and that's exactly what she did. So credit to her.
Agreed. To sort of circle it all together, sort of give final thoughts on the card. UFC 243, a gigantic card. Clearly, they're saying it's a record breaker. I'm curious to see maybe what the respective commission numbers are that come out. But they said 57,000. Nice round number to break the previous record. Curious what the specific number is. But on top of that, obviously, Israel Adesanya defeating Robert Whittaker via second round knockout. And clearly on the path to superstardom that people like John Jones were on, people like George St. Pierre were on, people like McGregor were on in a way, people like BJ Penn even, way back in the day. Like this meteoric rise of just an athletic prodigy in front of us. A talented, skilled fighter in front of us on top of that. It's the ultimate package to be the ultimate athlete and then to have great skill. You can't beat that. You're going to rise to the elite level when you have those two things in combination. And clearly he has that. And clearly he has a mind for just everything outside of actual fighting. And that's what's going to lead him to be a superstar. And like you said, Ant, perfectly, the cross-pollination in terms of promotion that this kid could have, he guy's older than me, that he could have is insane. Like the potential is limitless. You have the comic book industry that is ginormous.
This was at Marvel Stadium, by the way, something that they picked up on for their promotion.
Literally, Thor was in attendance.
Yes.
So if he's not in if he's not in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie,
if he's not a part of Black Panther's entourage,
I want him in something funny because he's funny. But yeah, Black Panther too. But we're not gonna get Black Panther for like fucking years now, man. Like, we have to wait on that one. Maybe Thor next, as Thor was there. That's a closer movie. It's sooner.
I mean, but he doesn't belong in Thor. I mean, he belongs in Black Panther. That's where he belongs.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean,
excuse me. Excuse me. Here's how you do it. Okay, you make him an alien in like one of the Thor movies that's coming up, and then because I think Thor's before Black Panther, then he's in Black Panther as like himself, so you don't know that he is playing two different characters. See, make the money, man. Come on. What?
Just gonna have to float the thumbs down on that one.
What? Come on. When Simon Pegg and Daniel Craig like studio hop from James Bond over to Star Wars and were in stormtrooper suits, that got massive publicity. It's all about just getting headlines. You got to think about that context, right?
All right. I'll give you that.
It doesn't matter if it like really matters if he's some background alien character in some bar scene, and then he's actual like real background character in Black Panther. Doesn't matter. It's just headlines.
Okay. All right, casting agent. All right.
I'm just agent. Period.
I'm just saying he belongs part of Black Panther squad.
Well, of course
like
he does. Maybe not squad, but like.
Part of M'Baku's clan or something like that. That's what.
Ooh, yes. I want him to be like M'Baku's like right hand man.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Please,
That's what I'm
please give me
talking about.
that. And like him kind of do like a young Chris Rock impersonation. Like give me that movie. I will, I, I will pay you anything, Marvel. Please. But digressing, Israel Adesanya clearly had a star-making performance and clearly on the way to pound for pound status, if not already there, based off of this win and his run. And the Polo Bochina Costa fight next is a massive fight that I don't know where they're gonna put. Probably a Vegas fight.
That's going to be in Vegas, I'm sure.
And
That screams of Vegas, unless they want to double down with the Oceanic region. If they put them in a pay-per-view in Australia or New Zealand,
look,
maybe,
if
or Africa. If they want to make the move to Africa, they got Usman.
I don't think that's the play. But what I think the smart play is to do a media tour for that fight. Because
yes, of course.
the winner of that fight is either your Brazilian superstar, which is a huge market to go to,
which is something that's desperately needed right now.
Or you have Izzy, which is a potential transcendental crossover superstar in multiple markets and multiple regions in the world. And I would put the money preemptively into that type of fight. I would have a media stop in like Rio de Janeiro or Sao Paulo, media stop in Melbourne or Sydney, and then media stop in New York. And then the fight maybe in New York or Vegas. That's what you do. You have to do that. Maybe in LA be a third option, but I think, to be honest, Vegas or New York are the clear options for that type of fight. But regardless.
It depends on the timetable too with that, because New York, they're about to go to New York. They only do one trip a year to Madison Square Garden. You wouldn't put that in Buffalo. You're not going to put that in upstate New York or anything.
But
that
see,
belongs
I think,
at MSG.
I think you can,
or the Barclays.
Yeah, but I think you can again, you can go back in May and make that fight in New York, right? And yeah, they do one card a year in New York, but hey, they can get away with it with that one and do another one in November. That's a big card. They can do that, like they usually do. I think that's the right route to go if it's not Vegas, because obviously New York is the media capital of the world. So you have a natural sort of tapped into media community that's going to cover your fight more so than other markets like Vegas even. But digress.
It would be more convenient for us, but that's another story.
That's another story entirely. If it goes to New York, fucking Jason gets it, and no one wants that.
No, we don't want that.
No one wants that.
No.
Fucking private. What?
Captain credential.
No, he's not captain anymore. He got demoted.
No, he's like petty officer credential now.
I feel like it should be lower. Digressing though.
Midshipman.
And shout out to Dan Hooker for picking up a much needed, dominant win against Ally Quinta. And any sort of wrap-up thoughts about this card, and then let's sort of talk about Triple G Derevyanchenko if you want, and then we will wrap up the night. Call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. I think Fugatti's on the line. Fugatti, we're going to go to you after I talk to Ant here about his wrap-up thoughts about UFC 243. Ant.
Well, first things first, I mean, Israel Adesanya has firmly put the crown on his head as the king of the Oceanic region. As far as MMA is concerned, that was an incredible performance. I don't see anything but bright lights and stardom for him in the future with what he just did. Now, I'm very curious as to what the in-stadium experience was like, because they had lawn chairs out there. That didn't look very comfortable, and I'm sure the view for a lot of fans that had those seats was compromised. But that also seems like the sort of atmosphere you'd like to be around, just because the energy in the building, just because you had so much going on. Now, until Dan Hooker and Adesanya won, there wasn't a lot of oceanic love going on the main card. Everyone else lost from the region on the top 5 fights. But either way, fun night, at least once it got to the Tai Tuivasa fight. Then we got to see quality MMA.
It took a while.
It was a slow burn, for sure.
Very, very long time. We're going to go to Fugatti, get his thoughts, one of our co-hosts, but he's, I think, was working all night, so he couldn't really be on the show. Lame. But Fugatti, how you doing, man?
What up, guys?
What's going on, man?
I got out late, so I couldn't get all set up and ready before you guys were going to go on. So I just
Translation, he was putting his beard oil on.
Translation, he's trash, guys.
No, it's better to have Ant there anyways. He knows way more than me. He's way better at this than me. But man, I was very impressed with Adesanya. The whole thing, the entrance, everything. It was phenomenal. It was a really good performance. His head movement and counter punching, just Whittaker had no answers. Obviously, reach advantage helped a lot, but I mean, just he's got to be the top striker right now, I would imagine.
In
MMA, I mean,
yeah, I don't know who I would put above him at the moment.
I'm struggling to think of another name that I'd put above him right now.
he's the easy answer too because of his kickboxing career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he has the pedigree behind it. While guys like let's say Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway, guys like that, T.J. Dillashaw back in the day before he got caught for PEDs. Certain guys you can sort of say like, man, their striking's really good, right? But does it have the pedigree that Izzy does? No, of course not. So Izzy has Izzy is the safe answer for that, absolutely. Plus he's undefeated in his MMA career.
Yeah.
He's knocking out fools left and right. The only guy he really didn't knock out was Anderson Silva, Gastelum, but he knocked him down 4 times, which was a record for UFC title fights. And then was the Vettori fight? Did that go?
The Vettori fight, that was a split decision win.
Yeah,
well,
that was rough.
His first couple fights he didn't win by knockout, but it's like every fight he makes dramatic improvements, and it's really frightening. And one thing, while he is a very seasoned kickboxer, and like you said, you watched him for years in Glory. He's definitely an extraordinarily skilled kickboxer, but he is still relatively new to MMA. Like he's only been in the UFC for less than 2 years.
And he also still has like clear flaws in the striking game too, which is the weird part, right? Like it's not like I look at him and go, man, this guy's just a masterclass of technique, like Pernell Whittaker. Even like
he's
Floyd
got
Mayweather.
a lot to learn in MMA. And that's a frightening thing. If a man who is relatively inexperienced in mixed martial arts, keep in mind before he got in the UFC, one of his tomato can opponents that he beat up beforehand was Melvin Gillard. So let's just keep that in mind. Melvin Gillard, think of who was at his best years ago at 155. Adesanya beat him up at middleweight. And that was one of the victories that propelled him into the UFC. So you talking about this dramatic rise in competition comes this dramatic rise in skill, and he just keeps getting better. The cool thing about guys who are relatively new to the sport is that every fight they can drastically improve. They find all these little things to tweak and to improve upon, and before you know it, you're looking at a totally different fighter. Like even looking back to that Vettori fight, Vettori gave him so many problems in the clinch, up against the fence, and kind of bullying him and using his strength. Try that against him now. Ask Derek Brunson how that went.
The next fight was it Brunson? Was that the next fight?
Or
was Tavares? Was Tavares next? It was either Tavares. No, it was Tavares. It was Tavares. I believe in the Tavares fight, he defended like every single takedown. Like the issues that Vettori gave him in the clinch were gone in the Tavares fight, and the ability to counter the takedowns was then a skill that he developed post Tavares for the Brunson fight. Right. So you see these rapid advancements in his technique from fight to fight. It's just unbelievable. I'm in awe.
Well, yeah, to see like the improvements he made, because the story up to this point was, well, Gastelum gave him a ton of trouble, and Whittaker is way better than Gastelum in all these categories. So he's going to obviously give him all of this trouble. But then all of the adjustments he made, like he was moving much better, going backwards. He wasn't getting caught up as much. His head movement was better. He was like shoulder rolling a lot of shots, just all these little things he made to improve from a fight that happened, 6 months ago? I mean,
yeah,
crazy.
It was like in March or something
he's
like
just so
that.
talented. He's so athletic, and he's so smart, and he's got a great team around him that, like Ant said, dude, it's scary to think how good that guy's going to be.
Agreed. Did you see the Triple G fight
The
by
whole
chance?
card was fun, though, man. No, I didn't. I watched all the UFC stuff.
Yep.
I basically picked the card up at work. Once the doors closed, I just threw it on. And I started at the Diego Lima fight.
Okay. What do you think of the Dan Hooker fight then?
Hooker looks like he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. He's got a great jab. He doesn't ever panic, and I mean, he put it on Iaquinta, and that's a big thing to say. I mean, he beat Iaquinta pretty easily. So I don't know. He called out Poirier, right? In New Zealand, you say wants to fight him in New Zealand, 2020.
Yeah, that's what he said. I don't know if that's a smart idea for Dustin Poirier, man. That's a long fucking flight.
The Poirier, he'll take that if he wants to fight. He wouldn't mind the trip.
Poirier's throwback, man. And he might actually think it's a fun thing to do is go all the way to New Zealand to fight that guy for a vacation.
Yeah, that sounds like something he'd do. Not the wisest move, but I could see Poirier doing that with a smile on his face.
Yeah, I think that's a tough fight to come back from Khabib, but I mean, that's kind of the thing that I really like about UFC is that there are really no soft touches. So, I mean, a Dan Hooker fight, if Hooker beats Poirier, that's going to say a lot, but I just don't know. Poirier's a tough out. The other fights, I actually started at the De Castro fight. Those were all pretty good fights, but just nothing. I don't think any of these guys are in the running for anything special right now. Spivak was pretty good, though.
Hold on. Quick comment from Jay Prodigy in the chat, longtime listener, longtime supporter, saying, is Fu becoming an MMA diehard? Did you just say he watched the whole 243 card and didn't see the Triple G fight? Damn, you're a traitor, man. You're like me now.
Bro.
Look like your tastes are refining, sir. I approve.
It's a better card. I'm going to be realistic. I wasn't excited about Triple G Derevyanchenko.
Excuse me, but you gotta go back and watch that fight, though.
Yeah, I will. I heard Derevyanchenko put on a hell of a show. So
yeah, I want you to score it too.
Actually,
hey, when you watch it,
he didn't win the.
When you watch it, when you watch it, score it. You're gonna have to.
Okay.
Just giving you a heads up. It's one of those fights.
I'll score it without sound on too, because I'm sure the whole commentary team was Triple G centric.
Yeah, actually, no. I'll be honest. Credit to even the commentating team and the Chris Mannix, who was doing the unofficial scorecard. They all thought Derevyanchenko won the fight.
Yeah, that's the sad thing, man, is that Derevyanchenko can put on the best fight of his life, and it's still you're up against the star, the guy who's bringing in the money.
Agreed. Well, Fu, we have to run. We have other callers. Thank you, and we'll obviously talk to you later. Let's talk briefly about that Triple G Derevyanchenko fight. 770, I see you. You got to press 1 to get in the queue. Let's talk about Triple G defeating Derevyanchenko via split decision, and perhaps the robbery of the year. I think I need to go back and watch it again. On top of that, sort of see what the reaction is from the consensus of the boxing community, because to say that, it needs to be a consensus. And it felt like Triple G on this night all of a sudden looked 37 years old. Excuse me. He was a guy that all of a sudden didn't have the cardio to throw the volume like he used to. All of a sudden could not win the jab battle like he used to. All of a sudden could not put combinations like he used to. That is all signs of a guy looking and is getting old in the ring. That Father Time is there, and it's right in front of our faces. And Triple G's inability to really deal with the pressure of Derevyanchenko, the body work of Derevyanchenko, was utterly shocking. Derevyanchenko's ability on top of that to turn him each time he got in close would throw maybe 2 or 3 shots to the body, turn him, throw 2 or 3 more shots to the body, and keep turning him. And he did that all fucking night. And Triple G had zero answers for it, other than he would have to go forward, have to gain some momentum, have to start throwing combinations. But Derevyanchenko was in it all night and gave it to him. And honestly, he probably won that decision and won that fight. At least on my scorecard, he did by 2 rounds. So I am, or 2 points, I should say. I don't know how you give that fight to Triple G. On top of that, even if you do, there's no way you come away from this thinking that Triple G is really, that he has the gas left to contend at the top level and really contend and compete with the top level. Could he beat Charlo, Jacobs, Canelo, Andrade, Billy Joe Saunders? No. And the answer, I think, is quite clearly no. And even guys like Ryota Moreta or Rob Brandt, those guys might even be favorites against Triple G at this point in time. Maybe not betting favorites, but for me personally, they might be. It's just a clear sign that a guy that's been in it for a long time, has hundreds of amateur fights, and obviously a long pro career, it's caught up to him. And sad. But he got the judge's decision, and he lives to fight another day and potentially get that Canelo trilogy fight that
which
almost
he would get washed in.
That was almost taken from him. But yes, he would get washed.
He would get washed like that. I don't want to see that.
No.
And this is coming from a guy who scored both fights against Canelo for Triple G,
which is wrong. But continue.
No, I'm incredibly right.
You weren't right tonight, so I don't know.
Oh no, I was foul tonight.
Your
man.
judgment seems questionable.
I was so trash tonight. Tonight, let's just forget that I had fight picks for tonight.
0-5.
Actually, the entire Shirt Dog staff is hurting right now. In the Slack chat, it's like 0-5s and 1-4s all across the board. Man, we were looking real sorry tonight. A lot of, but here's the thing about the picks. I stand by my picks because I picked them all for good reason. The picking fights is always just kind of up in the air. A lot of crazy shit happens, but as long as you have intelligent reasoning behind it, I'm good with it. But anyway, yeah, Triple G gets washed if he fights Canelo again. He certainly looked like a man who was 37 years old tonight. Now, while I didn't watch it close enough to have my own scorecard because I was doing double duty watching UFC as well, and I was eating at a
that's always an issue. Yes, eating
Pastor burrito from this taco truck down the street. It was fantastic.
Pastor, by the way, underrated option. By the way, just want to throw that out.
Yes. Beautiful stuff. So I was focused on a lot of other things, but Triple G, you very rarely see him back up as much as he was. He was getting backed up a lot of single shots as well. Normally, you used to seeing him moving into combinations, but it's just one shot and done, and he looked like he was having trouble pulling the trigger. And that is the sign of all signs that the end is nigh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a rough one for him. Let's go to our last caller, 770. 770, who is this? Where are you calling from?
Sam.
Who is this?
It's Sam.
Sam, what's up?
Sam. Yeah, from Twitter and Patreon.
Oh, what's up, Sam? How you doing?
Yeah, it's been a long time calling, man. Sorry, just been work. But anyway, before I get into the UFC thing, I want to say shout out to you, man, on tweet for all your anti-Trump tweets, man. Screw him. I'm hoping for Bernie or Warren next 2020.
Hashtag fuck Trump.
I like it.
I said hashtag fuck Trump. Yep.
F45 means time for Medicare for all, and Biden is not electable.
You want to talk about boxing now, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk to the fight, man.
Or
we can
UFC.
do that in the other channel we got. But I'm stunned. I'm stunned on this fight, man. I'm stunned at Israel, man. I am just completely blown away. I mean, I think he might be the next Mayweather. Because, what would you say?
I mean, that's maybe pushing it, but he's definitely on the way to being something special. That's without a doubt. Even if, let's say, he doesn't have the best title run Say he loses some fights here and there. His run to get here is already legendary. You know what I mean? So
It is.
I don't know about Mayweather comparisons yet. That's a long ways off. But definitely.
Well, I know you're saying Mayweather comparison like long as I'm talking about the fight. It reminded me of how when Mayweather fought Canelo, because Canelo was the bigger guy, and like even though Israel's taller than Whittaker, Whittaker still looks bigger, but it's just.
You just mean like the defensive movement?
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. No. I get you. I get you. I think Izzy definitely needs to sharpen up his upper body movement a little bit, but that's a really minor issue. And plus, MMA is a really hard thing to transition ducking under a hook. There's a reason why guys don't do it often in MMA, and the guys that do it, they're really skilled at it, and they have to be to do it.
I mean, this like seeing him, he came out of nowhere. I mean, I know for one, he's from kickboxing, but his rise, like many people in MMA, hardly knew him 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I did it until last year. I saw some of his fights. I'm like, this guy could be something, and then I got more and more impressed. He just keeps on impressing, and like coming from kickboxing to MMA is hard for many. It's hard sometimes.
Yeah, look like a guy like Joe Schilling, for example, in Bellator, who has continually failed at making that crossover. Tyron Sprong even sort of like gave up on it in a way.
Chris Misko, Crow Cop. Only guy might be Crow Cop, but
Mark Hunt maybe, obviously.
Yeah.
But even him, like he had a 500 record. What do you think about Israel Adesanya versus Bohachina next? Paulo Costa.
I'm nervous about it. I'm nervous. I feel like I was at the bar. I was at Hooters, and like some people saying Israel might get him, but I'm nervous because like Costco, I don't think he won that last fight. I think Romero won it. I think it was.
That's fine.
It was a.
Yes, Sam.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was
we
saying
got
like I don't know. I think it'll be a nervous fight, but I think because like Pasco's last fight, I thought Romero won. I think he got robbed.
I mean, that's fine. You can definitely have that opinion. I mean, I know, being there live.
Who you thought won that fight?
I thought I thought Costa won it.
Comfortably won that fight. I gave the first 2 rounds for Costa and the last one for Romero.
But I know being in the media room, a lot of people had it Romero as well. It was definitely a split room.
Yeah, see, everybody. I was sitting on press row, cage side on that fight, and just about everybody on media row said Costa won.
Difference of seeing it live versus TV.
I watched it and I watched it again. I just still think Romero won. It's just like.
Yeah, I mean it was a close fight, so
fight,
yeah, there's no controversy in feeling Romero won that.
I was really mad. I thought it was a robbery, but. A lot of people did at the bar, but I don't know. I think Pasco has that too much power, though. I mean, he has improved as well. So I'm nervous because, like, how is he going to deal with that power, though? And like, his best chance for Israel is to dodge and make him tired.
Agreed. Sam, anything else, man? We got to run, unfortunately.
Oh, I didn't see the Triple G fight, but I don't think Triple G should fight Canelo. I just feel like I heard about it, but I just feel like Triple G should just hang it out because that age, man. Woo. But great card, man. Next month, man. DF coming back.
Agreed, man. Hey, from here to the end of the year, it's just great combat sports. Thank you for the call, Sam, and thank you for your support on Patreon, as always. Guys, it's going to be it for today. Go to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio to help support the channel, just like Sam does, and we're greatly appreciated. We add extra shows to the channel, to our Patreon side of it as well. But, Anthony, that's going to be it for today, for tonight. Final thoughts, wrap it up. Where can people find you? And any last thoughts before we get out of here?
All right, so the good, bad, and the ugly, the post-fight column will be live on SureDog.com tomorrow. I'll start writing that as soon as we go off air. You can find me on Twitter at AntWalkerMMA. Israel's a star. Triple G's on the decline. It's one of those crossroads nights for combat sports.
Yeah, it does feel that way, huh? And it's weird because it's not the same combat sport. It's different combat sports, but it's a passing the torch night in a way. Yeah. It's just two different combat sports. But digressing, yes, follow him, Ant Walker MMA, all platforms, and of course, share.com for all of his work. MMA on Point as well for a lot of his work. Go support him there. Find me. Oh, also Walkout Network, your own personal YouTube channel. Gotta support that. You want to find that on our featured channel section on YouTube? Go over there on our YouTube page. It's right there on the right-hand side. What else? Any sort of housekeeping news? Be back tomorrow. Trending Now Network with me and Anthony, breaking down The Joker, which was fantastic. To sort of
yes, it was.
Give a spoiler of our reviews. It was amazing, and I cannot wait to break it down in depth. Plus a probably full review show of Triple G Derevyanchenko with Robbie Hearns at 2 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Hit the like button, all that fun stuff. And have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you are in the world. Peace.